My name is May Keene, 32 years old. The text came in the middle of my lunch break, a vibration on the desk that rattled louder than the hum of the office air conditioning. I glanced down, expecting a reminder from a colleague or a system update. Instead, it was from my mother. Mom, cleaned out your old room, finally getting rid of all that junk you left behind. For a moment, the word junk sat on the screen like a shard of glass. My sandwich turned to dust in my hands. Old room. She meant the guest bedroom I had used for 2 weeks last month during emergency repairs at my apartment. Junk. She probably meant my entire life. I typed quickly. Me. What exactly did you throw away? Her reply was casual, breezy. Mom, just old stuff. Broken laptop, some clothes, random papers. Nothing important. Nothing important. The words sank like stones. My vision tunneled. My throat went dry. Me, which laptop? She answered almost immediately. Mom, the black one that doesn't turn on. Relax. It was garbage. My chair screeched backward as I stood. The sharp sound made 3 colleagues glance up. Martinez, the closest, raised his brows. Everything okay, May? I forced a steady tone. Family emergency. Need to make a call. I walked briskly toward the secure communications room, badge swinging at my chest. Inside, the fluorescent light buzzed, mercilessly bright. I locked the door, pressed my palm to the biometric scanner, and my hands trembled against the cool glass. That laptop wasn't broken. It wasn't even mine. It was federal property, encrypted with a 15-character password and biometric lockouts. It contained 3 years of files from Operation Silent Wire, an international cybercrime investigation tied to $42 million in seized assets. And my mother had just sold it. I dialed her number on the secure line. She picked up on the 3rd ring, voice light and cheerful. May, we're just sitting down to Sunday dinner. Your brother's here with his wife. We'd love if you could... Mom, where is the laptop? She hesitated. What? The black laptop, where is it? Oh, that. I sold it this morning. Some college kid gave me $500 cash. Can you believe it? For something that doesn't even work. She chuckled as though she'd scored a victory at a yard sale. I gripped the phone so tightly my knuckles went white. What was the buyer's name? My voice dropped into the cadence I use for interrogations. Flat, precise. I don't know. He saw my marketplace post and came right over. Why does it matter? It was just... Listen carefully. That laptop was not mine to sell. It's federal property. You've committed a felony. Silence. Then a laugh. Don't be dramatic. It was in your room. I assumed... You assumed wrong. My voice cut like glass. Do not delete any messages. Do not contact that buyer. Do not touch anything else in that room. Do you understand? Her voice hardened. May Keene, I don't appreciate your tone. I'm your mother. I was only trying to... I hung up before the sentence finished. My hands were shaking, but my training snapped into place. I called my supervisor. Deputy Director Chen answered immediately, voice gravelly. Keene, it's Sunday. This better be urgent. Sir, we have a situation. My classified laptop was sold by a family member approximately 2 hours ago. All case files for Silent Wire are on that device. The silence on his end lasted 3 heartbeats. Then, Jesus Christ, give me the address. I'm activating emergency response now. 15 minutes later, I pulled into my parents' driveway. Federal vehicles lined the street, angled to block exits. Neighbors peeked through curtains, one recorded from a porch. My mother stood on the steps, pale, clutching her phone. My father hovered beside her, stiff with irritation. My brother, Daniel, sat on the porch rail while his wife tried to calm him. They all looked at the agents as if they'd conjured a storm. Agent Rodriguez met me at the curb. Mitchell, sorry, Keene. Area's secure. Your mother is uncooperative. That's her baseline. I adjusted my badge. Where's Chen? Inside, reviewing her marketplace thread. I walked past my mother's frantic calls. May, what is happening? Why are there government men in our house? My father grabbed my sleeve. Your mother made a simple mistake. No need for this circus. I yanked free. She sold classified property to an unknown buyer. This isn't a mistake. It's a federal crime. Daniel jumped up. Come on, May. She didn't know it was your precious work laptop. You left it here. What was she supposed to think? She was supposed to think, this isn't mine. I shouldn't sell it. That's basic decency. Inside, Chen emerged from what had been my temporary room, his presence tightening the air. Mrs. Keene, I'm Deputy Director Chen with the FBI Cybercrime Unit. That laptop contains classified information on an ongoing investigation. The buyer's phone is already dark. He either knows what he has, or he's destroyed it. My mother swayed. Classified? No, she works with computers. She said, I'm a supervisory special agent, I said quietly. For 6 years. My brother stared. You? FBI? Since when? Since Quantico. My mother gripped the railing. But you said it. You said boring office work. I said what I was required to say. Operational security. Chen's gaze was surgical. Mrs. Keene, whether you knew or not is irrelevant. You sold property that didn't belong to you, and that property contained witness identities, undercover details, evidence collected over years. Do you understand the gravity? Her mouth opened, closed. She looked smaller than I'd ever seen her. Rodriguez approached. Sir, we have a lead. Buyer's name, Marcus Chan, college student, apartment on Jefferson Avenue, tech team mobilizing. Chen nodded. Take Keene with you. Mrs. Keene, you'll remain for questioning. My father exploded. Questioning? This is absurd. No, Chen said. This is procedure. Daniel caught my arm as I followed Rodriguez. His grip was hot, desperate. May, don't let them arrest Mom. Just tell them it's a misunderstanding. I stared at him. This was the brother who'd borrowed my car and returned it dented and empty, who'd never paid back the money for his wedding, who'd mocked my boring computer job. This isn't a misunderstanding, I said coldly. It's theft of government property. Outside, as we filed into unmarked SUVs, I caught a flicker on my mother's phone screen before an agent confiscated it, a marketplace message from someone unnamed, time-stamped before her public listing. The preview read, "Clear out old tech quickly. Some things lose value fast." And then the notification disappeared. A chill pressed against my ribs. Someone had told her to sell before she even posted. The Jefferson Avenue complex smelled like old takeout and wet carpet. Rodriguez parked the SUV at the curb, the other agents fanning out with quiet precision. I pressed my palm against my badge for a heartbeat, grounding myself. The mission was clear: recover the laptop intact. But the knot in my stomach whispered something else. Why had that marketplace message on Mom's phone vanished? We climbed the narrow stairwell to the third floor. The hall was dim, lit by buzzing fluorescents. A door with peeling paint, 3C, stood ahead. Faint sounds inside, chair legs scraping, hurried movement, then silence. Rodriguez knocked, sharp and official. FBI, open the door. The noises stopped. My pulse counted each second in the hush. I imagined a file transfer already halfway through, a stranger's hands typing into the keyboard that once carried my fingerprints. Rodriguez's voice firmed. Mr. Marcus Chan, we know you purchased a laptop this morning. Open the door now. 30 seconds crawled, then the lock clicked. The door creaked open. Marcus Chan was young, maybe 20, 21, with dark circles under his eyes, messy hair, and the posture of someone used to hiding behind screens. He froze at the sight of badges. I didn't do anything wrong, he blurted. Rodriguez stepped forward smoothly. May we come in? He shuffled back, nodding. Yeah. The apartment was cramped, cluttered with monitors, towers, and half-disassembled machines. Instant ramen bowls balanced on textbooks. A humming fan struggled to move the thick air. On a desk in the corner sat the black laptop, my laptop, plugged in, closed but alive with a tiny charging light. Relief and dread collided in my chest. I stepped closer. Did you turn it on? Marcus's hands lifted like a suspect's. I tried. It asked for a password and then some fingerprint thing. I was going to wipe it, reinstall, use the parts. I didn't get to it yet, I swear. Rodriguez moved to secure the device, but I held up a hand. I needed to see it. Show me, I said. He powered it on. The FBI seal flashed, followed by the biometric prompt. The familiar chime echoed in the small apartment. I moved forward, typed the password, pressed my thumb against the sensor. For a second, the system paused, as though weighing whether to forgive me for being careless enough to let it out of my sight. Then the screen bloomed alive. My desktop. My files. Every folder untouched. Air whooshed from my lungs, relief so sharp it hurt. Rodriguez zipped the laptop into an evidence bag, tagging and logging it. Chain of custody initiated. We'll take it from here. I looked at Marcus. His leg bounced nervously, eyes darting between us. Am I in trouble? I studied him. His apartment screamed of obsession. Half-soldered boards, a whiteboard scrawled with network topologies, sticky notes plastered like constellations. He wasn't malicious. He was hungry, curious, the kind of mind that could be recruited or corrupted. You purchased stolen federal property, I said evenly, but you didn't know. That's the only thing saving you. His throat bobbed. The woman? Your mom? She said it was broken, that her daughter didn't want it. I thought 500 was fair for parts. I build systems. I wasn't trying to. Rodriguez cut in. We'll need a statement about the transaction. Marcus nodded rapidly, pulling his phone from his pocket with shaking hands. He showed us the marketplace thread. My mother's profile picture smiled up at me from my brother's wedding reception. Laptop doesn't work. My daughter left it. Need it gone. Then something caught my eye. At the very top, before Marcus's first message, was a ghost line. This content is unavailable, a deleted entry. I felt ice slide down my spine. Did you delete something? Marcus frowned. No, that's how it looked when I opened it. Someone must have sent a message before me, then pulled it. Rodriguez glanced at me, his jaw tightening. Another layer, another question. We finished the seizure protocol, bagging and photographing. I signed the custody log, the pen trembling faintly in my grip. Back in the SUV, laptop secure, Rodriguez broke the silence. You did good. I stared at the evidence bag on my lap. The plastic reflected my face back to me, split, distorted. Good isn't enough. Someone else saw that post before Marcus, someone who didn't want to be seen. He shifted. We'll trace IPs. Could have been nothing. But I remembered my mother's missing notification earlier. Clear out old tech quickly. Who sent that? Who told her to move fast? I leaned my head back, eyes closed, but the questions crawled. When we arrived back at my parents' house, the scene had thickened. More agents, more neighbors gawking. My mother was now inside an unmarked car, her face blotchy from crying. My father paced the driveway like a caged animal, snapping at anyone who came near. Daniel sat stone-faced on the porch, arms crossed, his wife rubbing his shoulder in slow circles. I stepped out with the evidence bag in hand. Deputy Director Chen was waiting by the hood of his car, paperwork balanced in a binder. His gaze went straight to the bag. Intact? Yes, sir, no files accessed. Good. His eyes flicked toward the unmarked car where my mother sat. Now comes the hard part. I glanced at my father shouting at an agent, at my brother staring daggers in my direction, and at the house where I'd grown up, its windows glowing warmly, pretending nothing had changed. The laptop was safe. The case could continue. But my family would never look the same again. And I wasn't sure which wound cut deeper. By the time Rodriguez and I returned to the driveway, night was pressing down. Porch lights flickered on, up and down the street, neighbors still glued to their phones, as if our house had become the evening's television special. I carried the evidence bag like a fragile relic. Deputy Director Chen took it without ceremony, slid it into a secure case, and sealed it with a numbered lock. Laptop intact, he confirmed to the assembled agents. Good work, but the collateral damage here. He didn't finish. He didn't need to. My father broke from the knot of agents and stalked toward us. His voice was clipped, furious. This has gone far enough. My wife doesn't deserve to be treated like a criminal. Chen's gaze was steady, cold. Mr. Keene, your wife sold federal property. That makes her liable, whether she intended it or not. Dad jabbed a finger at him. She didn't know. She thought it was broken junk. Surely you people can understand a mistake. It's not that simple, I cut in, my voice calm but sharp. That laptop contained 3 years of investigation files, identities, evidence, strategies. If it had been accessed, people could have died. My mother, escorted from the unmarked car, caught my eye. Mascara streaked her cheeks. She looked both smaller and harder at once. May, please, tell them. I didn't know. Chen folded his arms. Ignorance isn't a defense, Mrs. Keene. Her head whipped toward me. You can't let them do this. You're my daughter. I felt a bitter laugh rising but swallowed it. And you're my mother. That didn't stop you from selling something that wasn't yours. Daniel surged forward, fists clenched. She made a mistake, May. Stop acting like she's some kind of terrorist. Daniel, I said evenly, the law doesn't grade mistakes on family ties. She sold classified property. That's theft under federal statute. 10 years maximum sentence, Rodriguez added quietly, almost like a warning to me as much as to them. Amanda gasped. My father turned white. Daniel swore under his breath. Chen raised a hand. Let's keep this professional. Mrs. Keene will not be charged tonight, but this will be documented. At minimum, she's facing a federal fine and mandatory training. The tension cracked, but not in relief. My mother sagged against my father, whispering, a fine? For a broken laptop? I couldn't stop myself. Not broken, not junk, not yours, and not forgiven. The words burned my tongue even as I spoke them. Chen gave me a look. Professional, warning. Keep your personal emotions checked. But the fire was already loose. Inside, the living room smelled of old candles and fried onions. The agents sat up at the dining table, paperwork spread out like a tribunal. My mother sat stiffly in her armchair, my father looming beside her, Daniel pacing. Amanda hovered near the kitchen doorway, silent but watchful. Chen explained the terms. No charges filed tonight, but a $5,000 fine, a mandatory federal property awareness course, and a permanent note on her record. Dad's jaw clenched. 5,000? That's outrageous. It's lenient, Chen countered. If any files had been accessed, she'd be facing prison time. My brother's voice snapped like a whip. This is ridiculous. You're blowing this out of proportion just to prove you're important. I turned toward him slowly. You think this is about me proving I'm important? His eyes narrowed, but he didn't answer. I took a step closer, lowering my voice so only he could hear. Daniel, a message was deleted from Mom's Marketplace thread. Someone contacted her before Marcus, someone who knew enough to back out fast. Do you know anything about that? His face flickered, defensive, then blank. Why would I? Because last month you asked if I had old gear to dump for cash. Because you've been hinting about quick money fixes ever since your commission dried up. He shoved his hands in his pockets. You're paranoid, always have been. But he wouldn't meet my eyes. Chen's voice pulled me back. Mrs. Keene, you'll sign here acknowledging the fine and course requirement. Refusal will escalate this matter to federal court. My mother's pen scratched reluctantly across the form. Tears dripped onto the page, smearing the ink. She looked up at me. You could have stopped this. I already did, I said flatly. If I hadn't been here, you'd be in custody tonight. Her lips trembled. My father glared at me as though I'd orchestrated the entire debacle to humiliate them. When the agents finally filed out, the house seemed hollow, stripped. My family clustered together on one side of the room, and I stood alone with the echo of my own words. Daniel muttered, all this because of your precious laptop. I snapped before I could stop myself. All this because nobody in this family respects boundaries. Because you assume. Because you sell, borrow, joke, dismiss, and never once think to ask. Amanda's voice was soft but steady. She's right. Everyone turned. Amanda's hand still rested lightly on Daniel's arm, but her eyes were on me. I told you not to push her about that computer, Daniel. You did it anyway. And now look. He flushed dark red. Amanda, don't, she said, sharper than I'd ever heard her. Not tonight. For the first time, Daniel looked less like the favored son and more like a boy caught with stolen candy. Hours later, when the agents had gone and silence finally wrapped the house, I stood at the window staring out at the line of patrol cars pulling away. Their red taillights streaked like wounds down the street. Behind me, the mantel was cluttered with framed photos. Family vacations, birthdays, graduations. I found myself staring at one picture from years ago. My mother, my father, Daniel in the middle, smiling wide. And me, half cut off on the edge, as though even then I was an afterthought. I pressed my forehead to the cool glass and whispered words that surprised even me. Blood doesn't erase betrayal. From the kitchen came the faintest sound, my mother's voice, muffled, broken. She's not our daughter anymore. The ache sliced deep, but I didn't turn around. 3 weeks passed before I answered another call from my mother. By then, the fine had been paid, the awareness course scheduled, and my voicemail was clogged with her apologies. Each message was the same, regret braided with pleading, her voice cracking as though repetition could rewrite history. When she asked me to come to dinner, just to talk, to fix things, I hesitated, but curiosity won. I needed to see if anything had changed, or if it was another performance. Sunday evening, I drove past trimmed hedges and parked cars, pulling into the driveway of the house that had once felt like home. My stomach tightened. My new laptop remained in the field office safe. My personal phone stayed in the glove box. I walked to the door with only my keys and my badge in my pocket, a ritual shield. The door swung open before I knocked. My mother stood there in a pale blouse, her eyes rimmed red, but her smile careful. May, you came. I said I'd think about it, I answered. Inside, the table gleamed with her best china, porcelain reserved for holidays, and Daniel's career milestones. Candles flickered. Roast chicken steamed on the platter. It felt staged, like an apology scripted in porcelain and starch. Daniel and Amanda were already seated. My brother's shoulders hunched, jaw tight. Amanda offered me a small, tentative smile. My father hovered near the fireplace, hands clasped behind his back, expression unreadable. I took the seat at the far end of the table, the one with sightlines to both doors. Old habits. My father cleared his throat. "We want to apologize," he began. "For everything." "For selling my laptop?" I asked. He paused, then nodded. "For not taking your work seriously. For making assumptions. For treating you like you were still the child under our roof." The words hung in the air, brittle as glass. Daniel shifted. "Look, May, I looked it up. What you do, the cybercrime cases, it's dangerous. It's serious. We didn't know." "You didn't know because you never asked." "You never told us," his voice cracked, defensive. "I couldn't tell you," I snapped. "Operational security isn't optional. The less you knew, the safer you were. But instead of respecting that, you assumed I was hiding out of shame. You assumed my work didn't matter." Silence settled over the table, punctuated only by the ticking wall clock. My mother wrung her hands. "We never thought it was worthless." "Then why did you sell it without asking? Why did you laugh about getting $500 for it?" Her lips trembled. No answer came. I leaned back, my voice low but steady. "I'm setting boundaries. Listen carefully, because if you ignore them again, I'll walk out and you won't see me back here." All eyes fixed on me. "First, my work is not open for discussion. I can't share details, and I won't. If you can't accept that, we can't have a relationship. Second, my property is off limits. You don't touch it, move it, sell it, or borrow it without permission. If it belongs to me, assume it matters, even if you don't understand why. Third, my time is mine. I can't always attend dinners, answer calls, or be available on your schedule. When I say I'm busy, I mean it. Respect that." I scanned the table. "Can you do that?" My father nodded slowly. "We can." My mother's voice broke. "We're so sorry, May. We didn't realize how much responsibility you carry." "Yes," I said quietly. "You should have." Daniel shifted again, fidgeting with his fork. His eyes flicked to mine, then away. "Look, about that marketplace post." Amanda tensed beside him. "Daniel," he sighed. "I told Mom to clear out old tech fast. I was trying to help her make some quick money. I didn't know she'd grab that laptop. I didn't know what was on it." The air in the room sharpened. My heart hammered. "So it was you," I said slowly. "You told her to sell before she even listed it." His hands spread helplessly. "I thought it was junk. Old gadgets. Unused stuff. We needed some cash, and I figured, why not? I didn't think she'd—" "You didn't think," I cut in. "That's the problem." Amanda's voice was firm. "I told you it was a bad idea, Daniel. You pushed anyway." Daniel's face flushed, but he stayed silent. I inhaled, steadying myself. "I could take this to Chen. I could make this official." The color drained from my brother's face. "You wouldn't." I let the pause stretch, his fear raw and naked. Then I said, "No, I won't. Not because you deserve protection, but because I'm done letting this family pull me into its chaos. My boundary is clear. You stay out of my professional shadow. You will not drag me into your shortcuts again." His shoulders sagged. "Fine." Dinner resumed in uneasy silence. Forks clinked against china. Candles guttered. My mother asked about my apartment, my car, anything but work. My father spoke of golf games. Daniel muttered half-heartedly about sales quotas. Amanda kept her hand on his arm as though anchoring him. I felt detached, as though watching from behind glass. Their words slid past me. When I stood to leave, my mother hurried to the door. Her hug was tight, desperate. "Will you come back next week?" she whispered. "Maybe, if I'm not on a case." "Of course," she said quickly. "Your work comes first." It was the first time she'd ever said that, and meant it. As I stepped into the cool night, the street was quiet. No agents, no neighbors, only the echo of boundaries spoken over china plates. I didn't know if my family could honor them, but for the first time, I'd drawn the lines myself, and I intended to keep them. 3 months later, Operation Silent Wire concluded. 17 arrests across 4 states, 42 million in seized assets, networks dismantled, servers gutted, victims notified that restitution might finally reach them. The Bureau released a carefully worded press statement. Chen at the podium, stern and composed. Behind the cameras, our team stood shoulder to shoulder, unnamed but essential. I didn't crave credit. What I craved was sleep, and the knowledge that the laptop's 3-year archive had remained intact. That night, back in my apartment, I set my new Bureau-issued device inside a biometric safe. The steel door sealed with a hiss, the keypad flashing green. I touched the cool surface and let myself breathe. But safety was never permanent, not in my world. The next morning, an analyst dropped by my desk. Agent Keene, you'll want to see this. He slid a printout across the table, a snippet from a paste site, gibberish code blocks mixed with partial file names. My chest tightened. Is this? A decoy, he said quickly. We planted it to test the network's monitoring. Someone scraped it within minutes, which means they're still looking. They never got into your machine, but they tried. I leaned back, relief and unease tangled. So the threat's still out there. He nodded. Always. I kept the page, folded it into my pocket like a reminder carved in ink. Vigilance doesn't end with a single victory. The following Sunday, I didn't go to dinner. Instead, I stayed at the office, reviewing transcripts from the takedowns. My phone buzzed endlessly. Mom, Dad, Daniel. I silenced it and kept working. But eventually, silence gave way to a single voicemail that I couldn't delete. My mother's voice, subdued. I saw the news, May. Was that your case? The one about the cyber ring? I'm proud of you. I don't say it enough. I should have said it years ago. For the first time, she didn't ask for anything in return. No plea, no defense. Just words, raw and fragile. A week later, I agreed to stop by for dinner. Not weekly, not a return to old routines, just dinner. The table looked the same as before. Candles, china, the roast chicken my mother used as apology language. But the air felt different, lighter, careful. My father raised his glass. To May, for protecting people we'll never meet. I blinked, surprised. He wasn't the kind to offer toasts. Daniel avoided my gaze, fiddling with his fork, but Amanda met my eyes. We're proud of you, she said simply. For once, Daniel didn't contradict her. After the plates were cleared, I stepped onto the porch. The evening air carried the scent of cut grass and distant grills. My mother joined me, arms folded. You know, she said quietly, I used to brag about Daniel at book club. His sales numbers, his promotions. I thought that was what people wanted to hear. I never bragged about you because I didn't understand what you did. She looked at me, her eyes soft. But I do now. I can't share details, I know, but I can tell people you protect lives. That's enough, and I am proud. Her words landed like fragile glass. I didn't know if they would hold or shatter with the next mistake, but I let myself accept them in that moment. Thank you, I said. Later that night, I sat in my car outside my apartment. My phone buzzed with a new message. An aunt I hadn't heard from in years. Heard about the arrests. Your mom says you were part of it. Proud of you, kid. A small smile tugged at my lips. Mom hadn't exaggerated or mocked or minimized. She'd said I was part of it. She'd said enough. I powered down the phone, locked the new laptop in the safe, and leaned back. Family would never stop being complicated. They would never fully understand what I did. They would always have their blind spots, their selfish reflexes, their assumptions. But they had finally learned to respect the boundaries I set. And maybe that was enough. Because in my world, survival was built on boundaries, between classified and personal, between family and duty, between love and betrayal. The lines saved cases, the lines saved me. And this time, the lines might just save my family too.